Well, Mandy, thanks again for joining me on the podcast. Super excited to chat further with you. I think last time we spoke, we had a 5 minute round robin during Techstars, and so I had a pretty good idea of who you are and what you're doing and the passion that you had, but I wanted to, dive a little deeper and get to learn more. So, how I start all of these conversations is by asking not about the company, but about the person. And so, we'd love to hear kind of about who you are, whatever you think is relevant to this conversation we're about to have about Availyst.
Yes, thank you for having me, Adam. It was a powerful 5 minutes, but I'm excited to jump in further here. So I am Mandy Poston. I'm the founder and CEO of Availyst. Quick high level, Availyst is a food decision engine. We help consumers search across their local grocery, restaurant, and alcohol options, and we surface the results to them using preference-driven AI. You can think of it like Spotify for food. But with regard to my background, Availyst is my second startup. Alec, our COO, and I were first in at our last company, which was a successful language tech startup, which we built bootstrapped. Before all that, though, I grew up in the food and beverage industry. I worked in restaurants and catering all throughout high school. My uncle is a chef. My grandmother was a butcher. It's always been sort of top of mind and I guess top of heart for me. So in terms of background, I think you could say food and tech.
I like that intersection. It's very much where I spend most of my time. Anyway, right? If I'm not thinking about what I want to have on the weekends for a nice meal or whatever, I'm looking at tech companies for the most part. So,
Yeah.
good place to be. You talked about this being your second time through, um, and obviously we can talk about the first one too a little bit if it makes sense. But when it comes to Availist, what brought you to that as like the next thing you wanted to pour your time and energy and attention into?
Yeah, I think, ultimately I'm tired of fighting with myself and other people about we'll say what the fork are we going to have for dinner for this radio edit version. The hanger is real. It hurts relationships, it hurts businesses, and it's just gotten so much worse because of information overload and decision fatigue. And with the experience that we had building the last company, I wanted to fix that. I want to take a shot at making that better.
You mentioned a stat to me when we talked the first time that kind of blew me away. It had to do with like people and their relationships and the arguments they get into with deciding where they're going to eat. Could you re reignite that stat for me because I'm forgetting and I don't want to misspeak on it.
Well, I think we generally talked about the high rate of divorce and how, I think you could say a lot of those fights stem from just the argument about what you're going to have for dinner. In another very real way, uh, consumers today are spending over 132 hours a year just trying to decide what to eat, which is a lot of time that you could have back being productive in a lot of other ways.
Wow, that's a staggering amount of hours deciding where you're going to eat. Ultimately, just end up grabbing something out of the fridge and then not
Yeah.
being satisfied in any regard. In terms of the technology, um, is this a bootstrapped, homegrown tech platform that you guys are building for the company right now?
It is. It's proprietary tech. When I first started tinkering with this idea, I did try and see if I could scrap together anything no code. I'm dangerous enough to think that I could do that, but it turns out not skilled enough to actually do it. So when we really looked at the problem and sort of how many information sources were out there and how messy everything was, we decided that the best way to approach it was from a fresh perspective in terms of cleaning up the information and then that proprietary matching algorithm.
Got it. And then how does your platform then work? Walk me through like obviously we don't have a app in front of us or a wireframe to click through, but you and I are deciding what we want to have for dinner. What's the process look like?
Yeah. So you come in and we've gotten to know you, right, as a user through a series of questions and the way that you've interacted with our platform. We have a little bit of sense of who Adam is as an eater. And then we also have a sense of who Mandy is as an eater. So you come into our platform and you're making a decision about what you're looking for that day. Either you're going to be ambitious and cook dinner, and so you want to see your grocery options, or maybe you're a little tired from the day or daylight savings and early nighttime, and you want to order something for takeout, and you head to restaurants. And if you're dining alone, we'll surface results to you based on your own profile. If you and I are trying to decide something to eat, working on a startup, late night hours, no time to think about it, we'll surface you results. Yeah, exactly. We're ultimately always going to end up at Jimmy John's, but we'll surface results based on both of our preferences.
Okay. So do you build a profile? Is that profile like a living thing that gets smarter and gets better with time, or is it more just like, is it less refined than that at the moment? Like what's kind of like does it matter how often I use it? Does it get smarter with more use?
It does. Use it a lot, please. It does get smarter the more that you use it. Our MVP, which is out today, is really focused on delivery comparison. We're very soon going to be releasing the version with a much more expanded list of options in search. And then we'll be releasing that really customized profile experience for you. But right now, the more you use the app, the more we're getting to know you.
How long have you been working on this?
I mean, in my mind, a while, but we really started. I jumped from my last company into working on this full time January of last year, and really tinkered with a clickable prototype and getting to know our customers and our problem. And then we released January of this year.
Awesome. So still in the toddler stage of a startup's life.
Yes, pretty wobbly.
How do you what's the business model? Do people pay to jump on the platform, or is it a freemium model? How do you keep the lights on?
Mm-hmm. The Christmas lights behind
Yeah,
me, which I'm
right.
not sure anyone can see. So today we have a relationship with the businesses on our platform, and we charge a small fee for the traffic that we refer to them. It's very warm traffic that are making orders, and so they're happy to welcome that traffic. Very shortly, we'll be releasing targeted sort of food discovery ads that help you discover new products based on your profile, as well as a paid premium tier for consumers.
Got it. Got it. So, are you competitive with like a DoorDash or a Grubhub, or are you complementary?
We are complementary. We are not, I mean, we're certainly not in the logistics space. We are there as a place for consumers to get where they want to go faster. And very often that's going to be to one of those marketplaces or going to be to another partner on the platform. And we're just there to make that a seamless experience.
Do you offer like an ability to arbitrage price differences? So, you know, this is going to reflect more poorly on me than anything else, but I'll spend way more time than I should trying to figure out the fastest, cheapest way to get something to my place delivered. Oftentimes it ends up me getting in my car because I don't want to pay the fees. But every once in a while, someone's offering like free delivery or no fees or something, and I'll end up pulling the trigger on it that way. But it'd be cool if your platform said like, "Hey, you should get this food and also use this platform to get it because of this deal or whatever." Kind of like Honey
Yeah.
for as a Google Chrome ad. I don't know if that's part of like the value prop, but that'd be something that'd be interesting because there's just so many options out there how to get your food these days. It's just a little bit of analysis paralysis, I think.
I mean, that's exactly the point. First of all, it does not reflect poorly on you. You are an individual. However you order, we respect. I think we offer that experience, but because we're offering the bird's eye view of all of the resources you have at your disposal, and then what matters most to you is going to determine what is surfaced to you as a result. For some people, that is price. We have seen a lot more often the time savings. Even in that statement, you mentioned the amount of time you wasted doing the price comparison is really like a pain point for
Yeah.
you. And so a lot of people are driven by being able to save time through the convenience of that comparison.
Yeah, it gives me like Expedia vibes for like when I'm trying to book travel. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I put in my requirements and then it spits out all the different airlines, all the different hotels, all the different car rentals, and then I just get to a la carte pick and choose what I want and how much I want to spend for it. So I can totally see the allure of something that makes my life easier. I always joke that when I'm not working my traditional job, I don't want to make decisions in my spare time, in my
Yeah.
free time. So I could see that being a big thing. Of like, I don't care enough to make a decision, but I also don't care enough to make a decision. As stupid as that sounds, um, like in terms of the company's uh, growth today, what are some of the validation proof of concept KPIs that you're really excited about from a use case scenario?
Yeah, so I mentioned our MVP is live in app stores. Everyone listening, please go download it.
How can they get it? Let's just throw that out there while people are listening.
So search by our name. This goes for downloading the apps and or following us on social. It's Availyst, Availyst, inspired by a list of available things. If you're wondering, I have a problem with portmanteaus. But in terms of early traction, so we have over 30 partners on the platform. That's enterprises and technologies, marketplaces. That gives our users access to over 400,000 stores and restaurants across the US. We are, as you mentioned, in the toddler stage, so we're tracking to 5,000 monthly active users this month, but growing consistently 30% monthly. And what we're really excited about is that we have 40% retention, which in the mobile app world is
Yeah,
quite
that's
good.
great.
And then beyond that, though, that 90% of our users recommend us to a friend. And so it's really speaking to our users, the ones that are staying, want other people to join them. And that's really how we're going to build that community and make the experience better for everyone.
Yeah, 40% is very impressive. So kudos to you all for doing that. In terms of like exposure and reach, uh, coast to coast, if someone downloads it, they should be able to get um, something to hit, or is it more geographically limited because you need to find partnerships right now?
Both. So it does work coast to coast. Your experience may be richer in Minneapolis and Philadelphia, which are our target launch cities, but it does, because of the nature of our relationships with partners on the platform, as you travel for the holidays, if that's happening, you will still be able to use the app while you travel and get results.
It'd be interesting. I don't know how it would happen, but you can't stop the tinkerer from thinking. I would love to see a way for some of the unlockings to be crowdsourced. You get like a bunch of people that want to use this in like, Austin, Texas, and they start they start saying like, hey, I don't know how it would work, but if there's a way for your users to start to build out more relationships for you, that'd be kind of a cool process and a model that I don't think has generally been done before, probably because it's hard or not possible. But I feel like if you've got good power users, anything is possible. So and so, you should use this platform as part of your like warm lead source, right? So
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we have some thoughts about that. I'd love to keep talking to you about that. I always love to work through, tinker through ideas.
yeah. I'd love to ask founders, because obviously, like, first time you talk about a new idea with someone you haven't met before from an investor perspective or a customer or even like a potential employee perspective, it's like, what gives your team its competitive advantage versus like other people that might be doing something similar?
Yeah, I think sort of two things are top of mind there. And we've talked a little bit about both, but really experience and trust. And when I think about experience, everyone working on the team has been a part of a successful startup before. We know how to build responsibly, and we've learned a lot of lessons. We also know what it's like when things get rough and that you can make it through there. I remember how people have said this is a scary time to be launching a venture. And I remember how things felt in 2008, 2009, but also how that really inspired consumers to seek out new technology. And I remember watching Airbnb, grow in that
Mm-hmm.
space. And so we really see that as opportunity. But we know how to manage our runway and manage our overhead and be flexible and respond to the environment that we're working in. And then another major lesson I think you learn is that you have to build for your customer, not yourself. And that's something we really walked away with. And that's what we're doing today. We're flipping the script on search. and we're really letting the consumer drive that experience. So when it comes to making a decision, paid search and consumer reviews are really flawed drivers for results for you.
Mm-hmm.
End up wasting time and money, right? So by us letting your preference drive that experience, we're building trust with our users. And that translates to stickiness and virality and growth.
Yeah. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. It's a lot harder too, right? Because the other one is more of a sugar rush approach when you pay for those types of things. So it feels good at the time, but then the crash can be pretty bad. Um, in terms of those just like network expansion, what are the types of people you're trying to connect with at this current stage of the company's development?
I mean, I would assume you get this answer-ish a lot. I think a lot of different profiles at this stage of development. We're looking for stakeholders, advisors, investors to talk to as well as we approach that stage. But really, I would say if you are hangry, like let's talk and let's talk about the way to make that a better experience.
Yeah, no. So if you're someone that, and I think you know who you are, spends more time than you want to admit in public, and you don't have to, trying to decide where you're going to go for lunch or dinner or with your friends for happy hour, give it a quick download and check it out, especially if you're in the Minneapolis market, or, where I'm based. So a lot of my listeners will be from there too. Um, Startups are hard. It's also something that's not done alone. Any people that you want to shout out that you've come across so far in your second time through as a founder?
Yes. We have an incredible network of advisors and investors in the Philadelphia and Minneapolis communities. The Techstars Farm to Fork team was amazing at sort of helping us formulate our strategy and find our voice, and then introducing us to the Minneapolis startup community, which has been so welcoming and interested in helping us solve this problem. So that's not a lot of specifics, but that's just a lot of gratitude. And of course, our team is phenomenal and couldn't do it without Alec and Jan and Dan and Rajiv and Elise, our newest member of the team, and Sanjura. So it really did feel like an awkward awards
No,
acceptance speech.
no.
Thanks all.
I think it's always good to just kind of remind people listening that it's not just some random person sitting in a basement or a garage tinkering, and yeah, it truly is a team sport to get a startup to the finish line. So I like asking people to ask. I like asking that question to people because I think it's important for people to remind themselves to help them along the way, but also just to kind of shed light that it takes many hands to do something like this. Um, Anything that I didn't touch on that you want to throw out there? Kind of open floor to bring anything up. Maybe I missed something that you thought was really important, or just the kind of fair game.
Fair game. I mean, follow us. We're very funny on social media. I can say that because I'm not the one writing the content, so I can say it on behalf of someone else. And sign up for our beta team. What we really want to do is we want to build for our customers, just like we said before. So if you head to our website, just search Availyst. It's a unique name. You'll find us. Sign up for the beta team. We'll get you involved as we're planning and pushing out new releases and features, and we're going to build a better product because you're involved.
And is it just at Availyst on Twitter?
It is.
Okay.
Instagram is probably our more active
Same handle?
platform. Yes, same handle.
Got it. Oh, I'll put it in the banner below so people can find it. Mandy, so thank you so much for joining me on this. I'm going to download the app today and give it a go sometime in the next couple weeks here, just to play around with it, see if there's anything that I can break to,
Oh, yeah.
to give you a little trouble adjusting, because it's part of the fun of it all at early stage, but also just to save myself a few minutes of that 132 hours a year that I spend deliberating on what I'm gonna have for a meal. So you've been a great guest on the show, and again, for people that want to follow, head to the App Store and look up Availyst, or follow their Instagram account so you can kind of keep track of what they're doing. And if you are as indecisive as I am about decisions on food, you should definitely give it a look up. Thank you so much, and we'll end it here.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. It was a blast.
Awesome.